Welcome to Oyate Today. Oyate in Lakota means people. Brought to you by Native Sun News Today.
Hi, welcome to Oyate Today. I'm your host, Richie Richards. Oyate Today is produced by Tim and Jackie Gallego. Tim is an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Our guests tonight, well, our very special guests tonight, are Shawnee Red Bear and Cameron Lafferty.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And this is going to be a discussion about veterans and veterans services down in Pine Ridge on the Oglala Sioux tribe. So I just want to thank you both for being here and coming in and sharing these great roles you play on the reservation down there. So Shawnee, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your position down there, and what you do down there.
So I am the Oglala Sioux Tribe Veteran Service Officer. I direct all the veteran services on the Oglala Sioux Tribe. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I grew up in Pine Ridge. I'm from Pine Ridge. I belong to the Wakpamni District. My mother's from Pine Ridge. My father's from Eagle Butte, and I work for veterans. Really, it's just such a broad topic that, you know, I do everything and anything veterans on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So
I'm sure they appreciate you down there.
I sure hope so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Cameron, could you tell us a little bit about yourself too, please?
I am enrolled in Shawnee River, but I grew up in Pine Ridge and Rocky Ford specifically my entire life. Graduated from Little High School in 2003. Joined the United States Army, South Dakota National Guard in 2006. I got out in 2014, and about a year and a half ago, July 2018, I started as the director for the OST Veteran Shelter.
Wow. And so what made you go into the military? Why did you decide to go into the military?
Mostly the education benefits. The South Dakota Guard was going to pay all of my tuition at South Dakota School of Mines while I was enrolled or a student there. Didn't quite pan out because it's difficult, and being 18, 19 years old, you're immature, so you make a lot of poor choices. So joined the military, went through basic, got out, and then went through a couple semesters here and there at OLC, and then deployed in 2011, got back in February 2013, and then enrolled the following December in Oglala Lakota College, and where I graduated with my bachelor's in business administration.
Hey, cool, awesome.
Thanks.
Good job. And what about you, Shawnee? Why did you decide to join the military then?
For the benefits as well, more so for the travel benefits. You get to see parts of the world that you've never seen before. I particularly wasn't too keen on going to further my education just because I didn't really care for school at the time, and the military was a viable option for me to get away from home, go experience, you know, all these different things that the world had to offer. And so I saw that as my opportunity to, you know, kind of go out, live my life, and do something different.
Awesome. And so, Cameron, as the director of the homeless veteran shelter down in Pine Ridge there, what are some of the, and you might have experienced these as well, and you might be able to speak from experience on this as well, but what are some of the stigmas, you know, for veterans that are returning home specifically to a reservation or specifically to the Pine Ridge reservation itself? What are some of those stigmas for veterans coming home?
One of the biggest stigmas coming back is dependent on their discharge. A lot of vets come out with a general or less than general discharge. A lot come out with their honorable as well. But when they come out with their general or less than general, they think that the doors are shut for any veteran service they get from, or any service they get from the Veteran Administration. So trying to break through that stigma that they have, that they're ineligible for any and all services that they've been awarded or earned through the VA system, then once we can get through that, then their life will become easier, whether it's health care, compensation and pension payments, monthly, disability, ideally. So just getting that door open for them to walk through and break that stigma is one of the bigger challenges.
Wow, that's good to know. That's really good to know, actually. And this past November 2019, both of you coordinated this all veterans walk across the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, literally from the eastern border to the western side of the reservation there, which, as I understand, was 107.5 miles according to Google Maps, correct?
Yes.
And you did that over the course of 5 days. And whose brilliant and great idea was this to have the walk, first of all, and want to accomplish this this huge amount of miles within that 5-day period?
So, I will take credit for drinking too much coffee one day, and I had stated to Cameron, like a couple weeks before the walk, excuse me, I told him that I wanted to do something for the veterans. I said, let's go on a walk. And so I said, but where would we walk to? And of course I asked him, and with his brilliant idea, he was like, well, let's go from one end of the reservation to the other end. I was like, that sounds really good. And he was like, okay. So he maps it out and gets all of our stopping points, and that's kind of how that happened. It really wasn't an in-depth conversation. It was just two friends at work, two, co-workers at work, talking as they always do. And I just, I wanted to do something. He gave me the route, and we just went with it a few weeks before the walk.
Definitely. And so one of the things that you had wanted to do, or one of the goals of this walk, was to create awareness for some of the issues, specifically for tribal veterans. And Cameron, what were some of those things that you kind of wanted to get out there and let people know about? I know you had talked about one just a bit ago, but...
Well, it's general knowledge that the reservation, Pioneer Reservation, is huge. State of Connecticut size, huge. And a lot of the services are focused in Pine Ridge, so we have veterans in 8 other districts that don't really come into Pine Ridge quite a bit. So going out to the districts and meeting with them, talking with them, hearing their issues, and not really complaints, but what they would like to see from the services her and I provide, that was a big pushing point. And one of the more positive notes that we received from the walk was there's issues that we can take out, or we can bring in from the districts here in the Pine Ridge, and then hopefully address them for the veterans out in the more like Eagle Nest district was the furthest one out.
So part of the issues then is just transportation alone.
Oh yeah.
And getting into...
So her and I, we have 2 programs, 1 vehicle. We transport veterans quite often to their Veteran Administration appointments in Hot Springs or Fort Meade. So we ask for 7-day notice, that way we can adjust our schedules and whatnot. So that's a lot of our work, is transporting and driving back and forth. And
wow.
If we can get people to come into one central location and transport out, it'd be a lot easier.
Would that be like transporting them to their doctor's appointments,
Yes.
things like that as well?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And Shawnee, what did you hope to, and you're hoping that this is going to be an annual event then, correct?
Yes.
You're already planning for 2020 then, I assume.
Yes, we are.
And so what are some of the things that you wanted to kind of highlight and spotlight with this walk then, and some of the issues that you feel are important as well?
Well, being a veteran, myself, I've, come across a whole bunch of obstacles when I first moved back from getting out of the military. And one of the biggest things was homelessness. And that's why I'm really glad that I can work with Cameron, and kind of combat that issue. But another thing is a lot of our veterans, they don't come out and make themselves known. And I really wanted to identify those veterans and get them services that they need, that they well deserve. And another thing was that, I feel very passionate about helping my people as a whole. So it's not only veterans that I assist, it's their families as well, getting them the services that they need. Because you look at a veteran and they come back, and a lot of people don't really know who they are anymore. And it's kind of, it takes you back a little bit. And sometimes they have to reintroduce themselves into the community and to their families. And it's really hard to do that transition period. So those are the things that I really wanted to highlight with that walk and bring awareness is, these veterans are here. There's veterans that I hadn't even met. And I've been the veteran service officer since 2018, of April of 2018. So, meeting veterans that I didn't even know was in our community, that was a big thing for me. So that's why I felt that I needed to go out there and, put myself out there and walk. And I did meet a lot of great veterans, a lot of great families, people who just were amazing in those districts.
And Cameron, as the director of the homeless veteran shelter down there, why do we have, you had touched on it, Shawnee, but why do we have, what are other reasons why there are homeless veterans in Pine Ridge or on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation? Then why do we have this and by the way, how many people do you serve down there in your program?
So the first question, the number of beds we have in the shelter is 12, and we occupy 7 to 10 beds all year round. give or take 4 or 5 vets here and there. So we do 12. We have 12 beds, and there 2 or 3 are open almost all the time. And one of the big reasons why we have a need for the shelter down there is the lack of housing, not just through the Public Housing Authority, OST Housing, I forgot their name, not just through them, but land. Sorry, I jumped all over. Housing offers housing to lower income families, and then there's a lot of vets that have the ability to get their VA home loan, but they can't get land. That they either have land and it's not enough, or they have to get easements to get access to that land. So there's a myriad of issues that veterans face when dealing with homes. So if we can ease some of those restrictions and maybe make it easier for homes to pop up here and there, it'll be a lot easier for specifically veterans to get their homes through the VA home loan.
Let's take a break, but I want to know a little bit more about the homelessness and the issues that lead to that homelessness.
Okay.
And so we'll be back after a short break.
Closed captioning for Oyate Today is brought to you by Black Hills Energy. Ready.
Native Sun News has been voted the best weekly newspaper in its class for 2015 by the South Dakota and North Dakota Newspaper Associations. You can find a copy of the Native Sun News at many businesses and vending machines in Rapid City and the surrounding area, and on all 9 reservations. We publish every Wednesday, so advertisers and subscribers can reach our diverse readership by calling 605-721-1266. The Native Sun News covers the other side of the story.
You can't predict life's ups and downs. You just give it all you've got to stay on top. But it's easier with a partner like Security First Bank. Since 1898, we've been riding with you through the country's biggest ups and downs. And this is where we'll stay. Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on. Member FDIC.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. But I'm scared of. It's very sad no more love. All that I can do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. Once again, our guests tonight are Shawnee Red Bear and Cameron Lafferty. Thank you so much for being here once again. And thank you for the work that you're doing down in Pine Ridge. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
As do many other families. Before the break, we were talking about homelessness and some of the reasons behind homelessness, but let's kind of expand on that so that, you know, I myself kind of get a better understanding of it, and our viewers as well. But what are some of the other reasons why we have homeless veterans? And this probably goes across the many nations, the many reservations.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a common theme. But why are we having homelessness, and what are some of those things that are leading to homelessness for veterans?
The term homelessness usually gets thrown at people that live under bridges, live on streets, sleep on park benches and whatnot. However, the VA specifically has a broad yet very specified definition of homeless. And one of those definitions is you're almost able to get kicked out from a family or friend's home within 24 hours with no notice. And that happens a lot. Veterans come back, they don't have a home to live, like I previously stated, because there's a lack of housing issues. So they move into family, friends, spouses. Turmoil happens, the boat gets rocked, and the first one to get kicked out is the vet because he doesn't really contribute, or he's usually suffering from PTSD and whatnot. So they'll get kicked out, and then they bounce around home to home, sleep outside, sleep in cars. So that's why there's a need for the shelter once again. But a lot of veterans out there don't consider themselves homeless because of that stigma wrapped around the broad term that the public has for homelessness. So what I'm hoping to do is, once again, break through that stigma. And if they're living with a spouse, living with a family member, and aren't able to get their own home, I want them to come, not just stay in the shelter, but come to the shelter, speak with Shawnee or I about what we can do to improve their homelessness situation and get them into independent living. So we'll sit down with them. We'll address some of the issues that they have, whether it's health, physical or mental health. We'll work with the VA. Or if it's financial stability, whether they're bad credit, poor credit, no credit, we'll work on getting classes facilitated through Thunder Valley CDC or Mazascal TP in Pine Ridge. We'll get those classes offered. We try to offer them once a month. Or we'll sit down with them and let them know the options they have, whether it's a HUD guaranteed home loan, a VA home loan, or they have decent credit and a decent income flow, they can apply for a private home mortgage. But we run into the issue of where can they put it? Do they need easements? Do they have enough land? How much is it going to cost to get a sewage and your infrastructure put in? So the ball is big and that we're working with, and we're trying to make it down and more manageable so the veterans on the reservation can have their own place to live.
So there are things that can help get them on their feet and
stuff. It's just chipping away at that big solid block and making it more manageable.
Yeah, do you feel like, I guess, some of their experiences, whether it's wartime or overseas, do you think that affects their ability to readjust and come back to reservation life then and living, in a different community, in a different environment than what they've gone out? Because Shawnee had mentioned that you get to travel the world and experience this and travel and eat great foods and and all these great things, and then you come back to the reservation and there's just a complete lack of some of those things available. And so do you think that kind of affects their ability to readjust then?
Yeah, you specifically hit the nail on the head there, because when vets leave when they're 17, 18, 19 years old, go to basic, go through their terms for their contract, they leave for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and when they leave, they have cousins, they have friends that have the world in front of them and are positive and motivated, but reservation life grabs you and holds on to you, and you'll fall into drug and alcohol abuse for the people that stayed. So the vet leaves, or the individual leaves for the military service, they come back and they sometimes have PTSD, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drug abuse, whatnot. So they come back, or they come back with or without those issues, but the world they came back to hasn't changed. So they've been out experiencing these good food, travel, everything. Yeah. And they come back and it's almost a regression. And for everybody out there, it's almost impossible to grow once you've taken a step back. You have to figure out how to move forward, I know where I was, how do I get back there? And then you fall into depression, you get anxiety. And a lot of the coping mechanisms for those are alcohol and drugs. So it's just a vicious cycle that hopefully we can work together and break for the veterans on the reservation.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Shawnee, let's talk a little bit more about the walk, the All Veterans Walk that happened in November of 2019. 107.5 miles. That's a lot. I heard that, and I learned that you had lost a pinky toenail in the whole walking 107.5 miles and such. And so, where are we at with the planning? What were some of the challenges in putting that together then? Because obviously, you said you had a few cups of coffee with Cameron. Things got a little, got a little wild there. And next thing you know, you're walking across the reservation. But I also understand that you had the president of the Oglala Sioux tribe out there as well. Who were some of the people that came out and supported and walked with you as well?
So, as you asked, some of the challenges that we faced was really just getting support for drivers, safety vehicle drivers. Safety was always paramount in my eyes. That was the biggest thing that I always said was, hey, we need drivers. So getting the safety drivers, we were fortunate enough to have some volunteers participate, and our chief of staff, Cindy Geigo, she actually sent out one of her staff members to go ahead and safety vehicle drive for us, which was appreciated. We had, some of the participants were in and out of the vehicles as well. Cameron was one of the safety vehicle drivers, as well as myself when it called for it. Mr. Orville Milk, he was one of the main participants, if not the main participant. He is actually the oldest veteran who participated in the walk, 64 years old. Wow. United States Army veteran. Jeez. He's the oldest veteran. He's, the elder. He also did the walk from start to finish. Wow. Which was pretty motivating to see. Yeah. Some of the other people that we had was, myself, Cameron, Rodney Badhand, he's an Army veteran. Cornell Redis, he's an Army veteran. We had Wendell, Jay Youngman, he's an Army veteran. Philip Billhawk, I believe he's Navy. No, he's Navy, I believe. I believe he's Navy. I believe he's Navy.
Sure.
Julian Bear Runner, he was Army as well. There's just so many people that just, flash in and out of my head. I know that Cameron's mother and his father, Tammy and Randy, they were a pretty big part in helping get us supplies. Tribal Education did actually feed us at the Lakota Prairie Ranch too, so that was pretty awesome. There was just a lot of participants, a lot of people, and as many challenges as there were also positives. So it really balanced itself out.
Let's take a quick break, and God bless Mr. Milk. That's quite the accomplishment. 64 years old. During this recent storm, I had to walk 2 blocks to get some soda and milk, and that was tough. God bless Mr. Milk. We'll be back after a short break.
I want some more.
What's he doing?
But he can't.
Look at him. It's just not done.
Please, sir, I want some more.
More? More?
More? Please, sir.
He has asked for!
Thank you.
What?
Well, he did say please. Sir.
Yes, he did. And thank you.
Yeah, and thank you.
He's a wonderful boy. A delightful boy.
Please, and thank you. Pass it on.
Thank you.
More than 2 million men and women have served in our military since 9/11. Now, many of them are transitioning back into civilian life. They're considering career options, writing resumes, starting businesses. ACP AdvisorNet can help. ACP AdvisorNet is a nonprofit online community where Americans can offer career advice to those who have served. Now we can serve those who served us by helping them to find their next career. Visit acpadvisornet.org.
I have a dream. I want to be a soldier. I have a dream. I want to be a construction worker.
You can help kids' dreams come true by donating to Rural America Initiatives Building Fund.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. Once again, our guests tonight are Shawnee Red Bear and Cameron Lafferty. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work you're doing. It's just good to know that there's good people out there doing things for our veterans, and so I'm very proud of both of you, and thank you for being on our show. So once again, so let's talk a little bit more about this walk. You're already planning for 2020. What are some of the impacts that you know of that you've had with this walk? Then this 107.5 mile walk across the reservation. What positive feedback have you had come back to you?
So, as you know, Lakota, we're very proud people. And so to see somebody going on this type of a journey, a trek, it brings that pride back out in the communities, that people are coming out to watch us. So, the positive impact was bringing the community together for one common goal, and that's to honor their veterans, to honor those past and present warriors that we have. As everybody knows, Lakotas were warriors. And so that was really amazing to see, that kind of happen. And I was really proud that, a lot of the community members really stepped up and took care of us during that walk. We picked up a lot of momentum with different services. People are beginning to understand that, veterans are here and they're not being serviced in the way that they should and that they deserve. So they're willing to, volunteer more and, kind of step up and, into different roles, small roles, big roles. We have people who are wanting to come and cook for the veterans now, and they're wanting to offer just small things, and it's those small things that we're really going to build on, and just the awareness that it brought, I think, is more than enough for what we were wanting to accomplish with the first walk that we had.
Definitely. Thank you once again. Cameron, tell me about the impact of your work on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Is there kind of a special story or a special person or individual that you kind of seen progress and really brought them from a point A to a point B then, and or maybe even a group of them. I'm not sure.
My goal for the reservation, specifically for veterans, is to consolidate all of our efforts, whether it's individual, whether it's travel program or nonprofit, outside agencies, to consolidate our efforts and improve not just the homeless veterans' lives on the reservation, but all veterans' lives. They talk about the economy being a very, very poor situation on the reservation, and one of the ways to address that is to start with a small demographic and work within that demographic to help them succeed. And my idea is to start with the veterans, and what the veterans do and the veterans succeed with, maybe we can pass out to districts, pass out to different individuals, communities, and they can pick and choose. And then once that community succeeds off what the veterans did, then the other community, another community can step forward and grow on that. And hopefully within 15, 20, 30 years, we can all look back and look at the veterans as a starting point, as the one to kick all this off. So that's my goal, and hopefully that's what we can do with Shawnee and I's efforts together.
Do you think your program is important for Pine Ridge?
Very. Not only just to help give a safe place for homeless veterans to live, but for all veterans to come in and get information, because I'm not there just to help the homeless vets, I'm there to help any vet that comes in. Mm-hmm. So if any vet has any questions about VA home loan, HUD loans, whatever, any type of home loan or information on home loans, I'm one of the many resources down there, along with Thunder Valley CDC and Mazascal TP, but nobody knows what they're eligible for, what's afforded to them. So hopefully we can just kick that off and get this information out to them.
And one of the ways that you're doing that and getting this information out there is through your show that you have on Keeley Radio down there. And so can you tell me a little bit about your program there?
So Veterans Hour actually started, I believe, in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, I believe. Mr. Frank Marshall, the late Mr. Frank Marshall, he was a tribal veteran service officer for many years, and he actually, started that program. And when I came on into it, I was in the VSO at the time. I was actually just a veteran wanting to do her part, and this was a few years ago. So I actually started going on with Frank Marshall and the late Mr. Dwayne Brewer as well. And once both of them had passed, Brian Brewer and Chuck Conroy, they kind of, took over and they started going up. And so they always afford me the opportunity to go up and talk about veteran services, things that I offer. I'm always willing to go up there any Sunday. It's a Sunday at 10 on Keeley Radio. And it's always such a great time to go up there and do all of that.
Cameron, I want to thank you for your service and thank you for what you're doing down there. Shawnee, you as well. Thank you. And definitely continue that walk. As crazy of an idea as it seemed, it really made an impact, and a lot of people were very impressed with that. I want to thank our producers. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Prairie Edge for hosting our show tonight, and I want to thank you for making Oyate Today a part of your night. Also, if you'd like to learn more about Oyate Today, please visit oyatetoday.org.
You've been watching Oyate Today, brought to you by Native Sun News Today.
At all.